I'm Stacey. I'm one of the grower advisors here at Berger. And today we're going to show you how to do a squeeze test at your place. So we're going to start by opening a bale. So one of the reasons we do a squeeze test is because compressed mix comes to you dry. And if you fill a pot dry, you're going to have some issues. So we're going to talk about that too and talk about some of the issues you'll find. So here we've got our bale open, but let's start with the wood fiber. So when it comes compressed, you've probably got a machine that's going to help you fluff this mix. We're going to do this by hand because some folks do that, and that's okay. So you've got your dry mix here, and we'll get a little bit more because we're going to do 3 piles. We're going to show you what's good, what's bad, what's right. So here are 3 piles. We're ready to go. We have a dry pile. We're going to make a moist pile. So what you're going to do is just mix in your water. And this is what happens in machinery. It mixes in some water and then it does a tumble. And we're not trying to break down the particles. We're just trying to get the peat to rehydrate. So we are going to add a little bit more water, and it takes more water than you think it does. So now sometimes we make mistakes and we add too much water. So we're going to add a little too much on purpose just so we can see what happens. And you can kind of feel it as you squeeze that peat. Oh, it pushes back, and it's like making mud pies. Does anybody make mud pies? I love mud pies. Okay, so a little bit more, and then we let that sit there. All right, and then we get all nice and dirty. It's perfect. Okay, our dry pile. This is how you know with just a squeeze test how things are going. You grab a handful, squeeze as hard as you can. The dry peat, it breaks back apart. Your mix is not moist enough. That's how we know it's dry. And we look at it. They look a little different, but you can't always trust the color. So we looked at our dry pile. Let's look at our moist pile. And we grab a handful just like before, we squeeze it, and then it clumps together a little bit, but then it breaks apart very easily. That's one of the ways you know you've got a good moist mix ready to go. Let's look at our dubious pile over here. Oh, you could tell. Okay, he feels like a mud pie, but you grab a handful, whoops, you've added too much moisture. So that's how you know it's too wet. But what do you do if it's too wet? Just add some more dry mix. Okay, then you mix it together. And the funny thing about peat is if you just let it sit a little bit, it'll distribute all that moisture. And then you've got your mix back. Probably a little bit more over there. Okay. So when it gets too moist, all you have to do is add more dry mix. If it's too dry, add some water. If it's just right, it's time to fill your pots. So let's look at just a peat perlite mix. What does it do in a squeeze test? So you grab a handful and you squeeze as hard as you can. If it still doesn't clump together, you need to add more water. Let's look at our moist one. And here's a big difference. You grab a pile again, squeeze it in your hand hard as you can. It should clump together and then easily just break back apart. So that is a really good point to start your potting. But now let's see what happens if we've made a mistake and we got a little too much water in. We squeeze and we get some water out there. That's not a good thing. It'll also not clump apart as easily. So you still have clumps when you let go, and then it sticks to you pretty well. So that's the difference between a dry mix, a really wet mix, and a moist mix. And you want to start your potting with the moist mix. It doesn't matter if it's a peat perlite mix or a wood fiber mix. So you might ask, why does it matter if you fill your pots either dry or too wet? And here's the big deal. It's all about airspace. If we fill our pots with mix that's too dry, and then we irrigate, you know how heavy water is, well, we'll collapse that mix and we won't keep the airspace inside the pot where we need it. It's similar if you're using a saturated mix. You fill your pot and then the weight of the water and the mix, it compresses as it fills in the pot. And then when you do your first irrigation, you lose the rest of your airspace. So the way to do it properly is moist mix, and then you fill your pot and air spaces develop in there. You do your initial irrigation and air spaces set up, and you're good to go for your best crop ever. Thank you for watching. I hope you've learned a lot about how to do a squeeze test. And for more information, check out our other Berger videos. Thank you, and we hope you have your best crop ever.